I love Jujutsu Kaisen for many reasons. The intricately woven power system, the amazing written characters, and the overall ideas and themes explored throughout the narrative. But there is one underlooked aspect that I am obsessed with more than anything I mentioned, and that's the hand-to-hand combat. Domains, techniques, cursed tools, or any other power system related thing are nothing without the martial arts in the story. Proficiency in hand-to-hand combat is something that sorcerers specifically rely on more than anything. Even the strongest beings in this verse use it more than their broken abilities and hacks. And this can only stem from one thing, and that's the author's love and appreciation for it. For a martial art junkie such as myself, Jujutsu Kaisen feels like a mix of Bleach with its amazing power system and abilities, and Baki for the straight hands, and I couldn't ask for more. So, what specific martial arts are used in Jujutsu Kaisen, and how well are they incorporated here? Who are the best martial artists? It is a shonen manga, after all, nowhere near aiming for realism, but what are the pillars used and the references that we can spot? For that, we will have to take a look at some characters, and there is only one specific guy we can start a video like this with. Itadori Yuji, or as the fandom likes to call him, Itadori, left, right, good night, Yuji, is the driving force for the martial arts in Jujutsu Kaisen, and that is because he simply relies mostly, if not almost exclusively, on his hands. For the most part, he has no cursed techniques for most of the story, and he is the character with the most fights in the whole manga. Basically, he threw more kicks and punches than the entirety of the other cast combined. Itadori isn't a martial artist per se, he's a full-on brawler, but he has amazing techniques and mixes various fighting styles throughout the manga. His general fighting style is Taido, but he throws in a lot of kickboxing and karate moves. Considering his offensive nature, Yuji doesn't necessarily stick to one specific style when fighting, but he executes moves impressively from time to time, like this triple kick against Hanami. He starts most of his fights with a right-handed punch in an interesting pattern I realized recently. From the perspective of a boxer, Yuji counterattacks a lot, which can be surprising considering he always goes full on the offense. He slips and weaves a lot of attacks before countering with his destructive rights. His combinations can get insane, mixing different types of kicks and punches and chops in alternating patterns. He loves jump kicking people, and did I say he loves throwing that hammer of a right hand like 50% of the time? I swear in every single fight Yuji uses it like 10 times, and I love the way he does it. The anime does an amazing job with his different forms, often animating them in a great way with leg placement and hip movement to generate power, all being accurate. His first quote-unquote technique was Divergent Fist, which he almost exclusively uses with his right. And later on Black Flash, which was also almost the same. As a brawler, Yuji executes multiple types of complex moves like flying knees, amazing grappling technique, and a defensive boxing form which he alternates with Taido and karate defensive moves. It's also impressive. He is a true mixed martial artist with a toolkit that fits any and all fights he is in. He is a great acrobat with insane endurance. He throws in elbows and various amounts of kicks that stem from styles like kickboxing and taekwondo. His most famous attack from the manga was the Manji kick he hit Mahito with. That attack is from Taido, which is Yuji's main martial art. And his best fight, generally the best hand-to-hand fight in the whole series, is the Choso encounter in Shibuya, which is the author directly referencing the raid and the martial art used, which is Penkak Silat. The fight goes on to give us a masterclass on hand-to-hand choreography against Choso, who is also one of the best hand-to-hand fighters in the series. Yuji's skills are insane, and unlike someone like Maki, who we will talk about, she definitely has more technique and can be seen as the best true martial artist in the series. Itadori takes the cake as the best hand-to-hand fighter. No matter what the setting or who the opponent is, Megumi even says if everyone from both schools fought Yuji without techniques, he'd win against them all. And he goes on to deliver those fists personally to every single person that opposes him, be it a grasshopper, a retired old man, a lawyer, or the king of curses himself. ECT, better known as Everyone Catches These Hands, is definitely Yuji's martial arts style. Back in high school, Yuji was nicknamed the Tiger of West Junior High for his strength and stamina, And in middle school, people called him the reincarnation of Mirko Cro Cop, one of the all-time great kickboxers and a personal favorite of mine, making it easy to assume he did dabble in kickboxing or some form of martial art in middle school. He did also canonically train combat with Gojo. We never got to see it, but after his Curse Energy Control training with the movies, he did spend a few months sparring and being trained by Gojo himself. So let's talk about him. This weirdo, Gojo of all people, uses a Jeet Kune Do stance. That's Bruce Lee's own style of mixed martial arts he created. Considering Gojo is also a very skilled Wing Chun user, his finesse, technique and blocking style all stem from Kung Fu, which Wing Chun and Jeet Kune Do are both branches of. Against Sukuna in their first encounter, this hand grab right here is called Lapsao, which he combines with a backhand in the anime, but with a straight textbook punch from Wing Chun in the manga. Against Zhou, we get to see the hand grab again, with a flurry of palm strikes known as Zhu Cheng. Notice how he only attacks Zhou's center. That is the main principle of Wing Chun, defend center line while attacking the opponent's center. He throws in a tornado kick and another kick here just because why not? Against Miguel, Gojo goes all out. He shows us insane Wing Chun techniques like palm strike here, sorry my goat Miguel for this freeze frame. But more interestingly is Gojo's footwork and movement, which is 100% not Wing Chun. We can assume he trained in a different martial art to supplement his skill set where Wing Chun lacks. So probably something like boxing or Muay Thai. I also want to highlight Miguel, who is no slouch either when it comes to hand, especially the way he attacked with his second hand and keeps Gojo away from him. His combat is enhanced by his technique as well, which is so cool. At the end, Gojo hits Miguel with this chain combo known as Bilge or Bilge Sulum Tao. It is a rapid series of short, powerful punches delivered from the Sulum Tao form in Wing Chun. This scene is also a direct reference to the first Ip Man movie, confirming that Gojo knows Wing Chun, clearly. One more interesting thing to mention is this punch in which he uses Baji Quan, which Yuji also does a lot. My canon is that Gojo taught him this specific technique. He combines that with boxing, his angling and consecutive combos. He's also great at a variety of kicks with his long-ass legs, keeping a mixed martial art freestyle approach, just like Yuji, except with more finesse instead of the overwhelming power. Considering he trained him, but he also got some grappling moves and they're amazing, almost mostly Jujutsu. No one showed better grappling moves in the manga better than Gojo. Well, except for Maki. Let's take a look at my goat before we talk about her though. Sukuna is an odd character to analyze when it comes to martial arts. He's not on the level of Yuji or Gojo when it comes to that, which we have evidence for. Both of them out martial arted him when they fought. But he is no slouch either. He does a variety of karate attacks and shows insane skills throughout the series. But because of his nature and role of being overpowered, rarely are those pure skills shown rather than the overwhelming power and speed to blitz through and play around with whoever he fights for most of the series. By the way, this is not a power scaling video, so it's not about who beats who. It's more about who is more skilled at what specifically, so just to be safe because I can already see the comments. Also, from now on there are going to be manga spoilers, so be careful. Sukuna normally has 4 hands, which is very broken, and he is often not used to 2 hands when in other bodies. Yuji's body does give him an advantage, and he never got touched in that body. Well, aside from chapter 1 in which he was very weak. But Megumi's body doesn't, as it appears. If we are talking about pure skill in martial combat, then characters like Miguel, Kenjaku, Choso, and Yuki would be better than him. But like I said, in a fight, none of those characters would last a second, and that's the problem. But that still makes it sound like Sukuna is not skilled, where in fact he actually is. You don't take on Yuji and Maki at the same time and put up a fight if you are not cracked at hand-to-hand combat. He faced Gojo with the Bum Gumi body debuff, And he still put up a fight and was able to defend himself till he won the whole thing. Gojo won the hand-to-hand fight, but it is important to consider that Sukuna was at 19 fingers. He had the Megumi body and lacked his original form. He was fighting passively and put on great defense till he won. For now, let's rapid fire through some honorable mentions. The Kamo boys are great at Kyokushin Karate, especially Shote, which is attacking with the open hand and using the heel of the hand. Choso subconsciously developed this style in his 150 years of isolation. Boosted with flowing red scale, he and Kamo are really impressive. By the way, I was looking up some stuff about Choso online and came across a workout and diet plan for Choso. It's a calisthenics routine which caught me off guard. Well, great to see Choso starting a business and expanding his income resources. Yuta is great at boxing. He was trained by Maki in Kenjutsu, the way of the sword. He fights a lot like Gojo, which makes a lot of sense. Definitely trained by him. Todo, another brawler who is great at kickboxing and karate. Look at this mean axe kick. His mother and sensei Yuki is an even more cracked kickboxer. She delivers haymakers boosted by the power of a black hole. You don't want to fight Yuki. Just ask Kenjaku. Considering she taught Todo everything she knows and what we have seen from her fight, she is high up there. Toji doesn't even need to be mentioned. Only thing is we unfortunately never got to see him fighting with his hands. He's too busy flexing his body and traumatizing teenagers with his speed. But this 550-degree hook kick lives rent-free inside of my head. His son, the bummed one, is not bad himself. He can use a variety of weapons with great skill. This spin sidekick is amazing. He can fight up close against superior fighters and keep up to some extent. He can use Jujutsu too, probably trained by Maki or Gojo or both of them. Geto is really good at karate. Kenjaku is even better. Kusakabe is the best swordsman in the manga. Kenjutsu, or the way of the sword, like I said earlier, is a martial art. Not everything is hand-to-hand. Though I have to shout out my boy Daido, the legendary Ronin. Kashimo's stances and fighting styles like Gojo are very reminiscent of Wing Chun. He is a counter fighter who flows with the enemy's attacks and responds with swift hands, elbows, knees, and palm strikes. But not only Wing Chun, I see some high kicks and shield guards, possibly some Muay Thai thrown in there as well. Hakari punches people really hard. He does it like his sensei too, with a lot of swag. And lastly, let's talk about Maki. She is well versed in Chinese Kempo or Kung Fu, which is the base of her style according to Gege Akutami. Snake bites, arm disabling, and palm strikes are some of the techniques we've seen her execute. She is stated to be the most skilled student in using weapons, and that was way before her awakening. She has mastery over multiple types of weapons to the level of teaching others how to use them. Playful Cloud, a 3-arm staff, skilled in Kenjutsu, the way of the sword, Sojutsu, the way of the spear, Iaijutsu, quick draw technique, and Jujutsu and other grappling techniques we've seen her use in the manga. Sumo, specifically Shiranui stance, and other styles which she was already good at but mastered when she sparred with Mio. She trained in these disciplines intensively to supplement her lack of curse technique and energy. She also trained with the Kokoro unit from the Zenin clan. She knows Aikido, performing shoulder throws, disarming opponents' weapons. She knows Baji Kwan, and she was the one who taught it to Yuta, who used it in this fight against Ryu. She is insanely skilled and in a variety of various and complex styles from all over the world and all types of disciplines. She is the most skilled martial artist. It's between her, Yuji, and Gojo. If these three fought without curse technique, I think Yuji would win, but Maki is more skilled. And Gojo is up there. It's weird, it's not a power scaling video. Well, to wrap it up, here is a tier list of who I think are the best martial artists in the manga. Not necessarily accurate and is mostly based on what we got to see or know about these characters. So again, for you power scalers, this is not a who would beat who type of ranking, but for more like this, from a different angle, I made a video about the psychology of Jujutsu Kaisen's fighting styles and combat approaches like technicality, behavior, and nature of fighters. It's like an analysis of characters in combat overall, which you can check out right here. Check out my Patreon for support and extra content, and see you in the next one.